Okay, I wanted to talk to y'all tonight about zeroing a Pulsar trail scope. Now, we're all men, and men hate to read directions, and we generally don't. So we have trouble with these scopes. These thermal scopes, and I can't say that it's all scopes because I hadn't had that much experience with a lot of them. But I can tell you that a major manufacturer of thermal scopes is the same way. They're backwards to me. If you look right here, this is my remote. I keep the remote right there. I love that remote. Can't hardly hunt without it. And this remote will help you in a lot of things, like zeroing in when you get on targets. There's only 3 buttons here, and they're easy to hit at night. I've got my rifle on a stand, so I highly recommend putting your remote right there on your thermal. That way, if you move it, it goes with your scope. I actually put a fishing line on the bottom with a little tether in case it falls off. Mine has never fallen off. Now, I have loaned my scope out and come back with no remote, but I personally have never lost it, and if I did, I'd know where it's at because I'm always fooling with it. Highly recommend this remote. It's easy. What's hard is at night feeling for these buttons right here. You get in a hurry, you mash the wrong button, and you lose your crosshairs. It's much easier if you just use that remote right there. Everybody knows this front switch right here or dial is your focus. So you don't, I hardly ever mess with mine. I don't know if it's out of focus or not. I don't fool with it. This is your focus knob for your crosshairs. That's all it does, focus your crosshairs. Record button, menu button, and this is the sighting in button. These buttons do different things in depending where your menu's at, but if you notice this tape right here, this is my secret to zeroing one of these scopes. Now, let me show you here. All right, this is a better picture of it. That's D/L, down and left. This is U/R, up and right. Most of us, especially us old timers, we've been zeroing conventional scopes for years. So the practice on these is just backwards. And I'll tell you that I can get in here and I can do it by Pulsar's directions. But my problem is if I'm in a hurry, I always forget, I move it the wrong way, and I have to start all over again. I don't like that. So, all I did was get a label maker. I made D/L, down and left, which corresponds to this button right here. This is your menu button. And then U/R. It corresponds to this button, which is your sight-in button. This makes it easy. If this scope, if I'm shooting high 1 inch, I need to come down. All I do is switch my menu to elevation, go up here, tap this button 1 time, and it'll move it approximately 1 inch. Sometimes ½ inch. I really hadn't figured out exactly how much it moves it, but 1 click generally you get me real close, and that's easy to do. Now, if it's, let's say it's shooting 1 inch to the right, well, the conventional scope, all you do is you move it quarter inch, you move it 4 clicks to the left. Well, if you move this one 4 clicks to the left, it'll go about 4 inches. But anyhow, you want to use, if you want to move just the bullet, this moves down and left, and this moves up and right. This one corresponds to that button. This one corresponds to that button. That moves the bullet only. And I put that on my battery. So we'll look at that a little closer here in a minute. Okay, now these scopes do have one little quirk that, I don't know, until I figured it out, it was kind of unusual, but I'm going to show you that in a minute. All right, when you look at this menu here, the first thing you're going to notice is, and you need to notice, is what profile you're on, A, B, or C. Now, if you notice, there is 3 windows here. Now, Pulsar is going to tell you that, oh man, that's useful for different ranges. Well, it may be, but it's a lot more useful for me if I use A, B, and C on different weight bullets. On mine, I have A profile as my 125 grain Sierra Game Killer Hog bullets. On the B profile, that is for my 168 grain Hornady AMAX. Now on the C profile, I actually sighted mine in for subsonic bullets to shoot suppressed. Now, I'm going to tell you, I have many times got out there to shoot at a hog or whatever, and throwed in a subsonic and be on A profile, and I will shoot about 2 feet over the top of the hog, sometimes more, 2.5 feet. There's a lot of difference between a full power round and a subsonic, so you have to use this. Now, the other thing is, look down here, 100 yards. Now, it doesn't matter, you know, you can do different ranges and all that. I really haven't messed with that much. I'd sight mine in. My gun actually hits with a 125 grain bullet at least 3 inches high, sometimes 3.5 at 100 yards. Because let's face it, when these hogs start running, you don't have time to zero them in by changing profiles and all that, and they rarely going to run at you. They're going to run away. So you want them to shoot a little high anyhow. That way you can hit them good. I always like to take a soda water can, cut it in half, fill it with ice, usually go to black hot and aim at the hole, and I want it to shoot right over the top of the half cut soda water can. But anyhow, that's your 3 profiles, and you'll have to sight those in separately. So whatever one you're on, make sure it's on A, and you want to make sure that you're on the first setting, 100 or whatever. Now, all the way down here at the bottom is going to be your sight in menu. Now, this is the first menu here. Now, you're going to see, I'm going to play this a little more. Right there is your second menu. Now, the second menu, when you're out hunting, I don't think you will ever use. I've never used mine. Most of this stuff is set one time. I can tell you that I am a little bit right in here, this information. These Pulsar scopes count every shot you've taken. So if you're using that a lot, go in there and look and see what your count is. At one time, I thought mine was at 1,000. I believe it's actually 550 or something like that. I hadn't looked lately, but anyhow, it'll tell you how many shots you fired. So you need to be back on the first menu. Now, that's your reticle right there. You're going to go to the bottom one down here, right there, and you're going to do like me. You're going to make a long press, and when you do, it's going to take you right outside the menu, and it's gone. So you're going to have to hold down menu again, and then make a quick press. It takes you there. Make another quick one, and it takes you there. Now, you can change this 0 and all that right there. I always leave mine on 100 yards and 0. Now, we're going to go a little bit further. All right, another quick press. Now, I'm here to tell you that you're going to get confused right here. Now, this tells you you're in A profile, 100 yards. X, I believe, is windage. Y is elevation. Now, this scope, as it is looking right here, cannot be adjusted. It says windage, but it's not going to let you adjust it. There's a line right here. Until that line is present, you can't adjust your scope. So that's something to keep in mind. That's kind of, I ain't gonna call it a quirk, but it took me a while. I got frustrated till I figured that out. Okay, now let me explain the one-shot 0 here. If you put that dot on your target and you shoot one time, your bullet hits right here. All you have to do is move that X to that bullet hole, and that's your one-shot 0. Now, I'm telling you, I ain't nowhere close to being happy with that. These are thermal scopes, shooting at night. You know, I'm going to shoot a group. I've been raised shooting other scopes where you move the bullet to the direction you want you move the scope the direction you want the bullet to go. This here is backwards to me. Now, I figured out how to use it, and I sighted in a few scopes, but I eventually went to this tape method to where I move my scope the direction I want the bullet moved. Now, like I told you before, even though it says windage, you cannot adjust the scope from this screen. You're going to have to hit that menu button quick one more time. And let's run it up here a second. Still waiting. You're going to see a line appear. Like I said, I get confused at this sometimes too. All right, come on, Danny, hurry up. Burning daylight here. All right, there it is. When you've got that line down there, that means now that you can adjust windage. Okay. When you get that line, if you need to go, let's say that you're shooting 3 inches to the right, you need to bring your bullet over to the right. I mean, over to the left, actually. Then you're going to go over here. Bring this picture up. You need to move that bullet left 3 inches. Well, all you got to do is go up here, press this front button while you're in windage mode 3 times, and it's going to move the bullet left. Now, if the elevation, let's say that you're shooting 2 inches low, you need to come up 2 inches. You're going to need to move the menu to elevation, and then here's the up and right, and you're going to hit this button 2 clicks to move that button that bullet up 2 inches. Now, we're in windage right now. Let's say you still need to move elevation. Let's run it up a little bit. You notice right here, the line is on the X. It says windage. That's what you're moving, is your windage. Now, if you're shooting 3 inches right and you need to move the bullet left, if you're going to adjust it from right here, you need to move this white X over here to your bullet hole 3 inches. And I don't know about you, but I always get confused as to which button. A lot of times, if you got your crosshairs black, you can't see that white X. I don't like this method. I just find it easier to move my scope, move my bullet impact from the external there. So if I needed to move 3 inches left, I would have it here, have it on windage, and then I would press this button 3 times and it would move the bullet impact to the left 3 inches. Now, if I was hitting way left and I needed to move a bullet right, I would move this one while in the windage mode. Okay, now the same buttons also move the elevation. All right, now you notice I'm in elevation now. And remember, if you can't see this line, you can't move anything. So remember that. That line is real important. Now, if I'm shooting 4 inches high and I want to hit dead center, I'm in elevation already. I want to move down 4 inches. I'm going to press this button 4 times. It's going to move me down 4 inches. And that way you don't have to look at this X. You don't have to move the X toward the bullet hole. You just watch this. And I don't know if the numbers go up or down, but you'll see the numbers move. 4 numbers, that means that you are moving that far. Now, if you figured that out, we're going to go here a little bit further. Now you got to get out of this. So you're going to have to hold that button down. Just keep it holding it down. Now, when you get that right there, you're going to be zeroed. So that's real important. And every time you enter the zero mode, when you come out of it, you're going to get this little message here. So anyhow, I hope that I've explained this. This is my method. It's just the way I do it. I did read the instructions eventually, but I messed up constantly, going the wrong way, because we've been taught to move scopes. You move the bullet, move the scope the direction you want the bullet to hit. Well, this is opposite. So get you a label maker, get you a piece of masking tape. This is the front of the scope over here, and that's down left, down slash L, and this is up and right, and you can move the impact of the bullet or move the scope the way you want the bullet to go, which will be exactly opposite the white X. So that's the way I do it. Worked for me, and I'm finding that a lot of people, the instructions are easy to understand. It's just that we have been taught different, and you get mixed up, you go the wrong direction. So I just wanted everybody to know that, and that's my method of doing it. So I thank you for watching.